Hey, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the wild world of numismatics, uncovering hidden gems that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Today, we're unleashing an absolute monster episode, the top 5 most valuable and hype-worthy Australian half-pennies that are straight fire for collectors right now. The Wartime Warrior 1943, the post-war Perth Beasts 1947, 1948, and 1949 with those sneaky Y dots, and the transitional Elizabeth II stunner from 1959. These bronze kangaroo legends span decades of Australian history, from World War II drama to the booming recovery and the dawn of a new queen, each one packing scarcity, varieties, errors, and insane auction records that could make your collection explode in value. If you're chasing pre-decimal Aussies that scream opportunity, this lineup is pure gold. New here? Smash subscribe, hit the bell, and let's kangaroo hop through these 5 epic coins that are worth way more than half a penny. Kicking off with the 1943 Australian half-penny. The world is at war, and Australia is right in the thick of it. The Pacific Theatre is heating up, resources are scarce, and the Royal Australian Mint is cranking out coins to keep the economy rolling. The half-penny, that humble bronze disc weighing in at about 5.67 grams and measuring 25.5 millimeters across, was everyday money back then. On one side, you've got King George VI staring out with that regal profile, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. The inscription reads Georgiv 6D, GBR, OMN, Rex F laughing face, IMP. Flip it over, and there's the iconic kangaroo hopping proudly, surrounded by Australia half-penny 1943. Simple, elegant, and oh so Australian. But don't let the straightforward design fool you. This coin was born in turbulent times, and that turmoil created some absolute rarities that collectors go crazy for. During the war, Australia's mints were stretched thin. The Melbourne Mint produced most of these, but to meet demand, some were struck at the Bombay Mint in India. Those have a tiny I mint mark under the kangaroo's tail. That's your first clue to potential value. The Bombay versions are scarcer, with only about 6 million minted, compared to Melbourne's whopping 34 million or so. But wait, it gets better. The real excitement kicks in with the varieties and errors that popped up due to wartime pressures. Rushed production, worn dies, and makeshift fixes led to some mind-blowing anomalies. We're talking double die obverse, where the king's portrait looks like it's got a ghostly shadow, brockage errors, where one side is mirrored from another coin getting stuck in the press, and even off-center strikes or planchet flaws. These aren't just mistakes. They're the stuff that turns a common coin into a collector's holy grail. Let's break down the basics of what makes this coin tick in the market. For a standard 1943 half-penny in good circulated condition, say, with some wear but still readable details, you're looking at pocket change value, maybe $1 or $2 in Australian dollars. Step it up to fine or very fine, where the king's hairlines are sharp and the kangaroo's fur shows texture, and prices climb to $5 to $20. But if you snag one in extremely fine or about uncirculated, with that original luster peeking through and minimal contact marks, we're talking $50 to $200 easy. And for the uncirculated beauties, those mint state stunners with full red bronze glow can fetch $300 to $1,000 or more, depending on the grading from services like PCGS or NGC. But folks, that's just the entry level. The true hype comes from those rare varieties that separate the casual flippers from the serious investors. Imagine holding a coin that survived the blitz of wartime minting and came out with a double die obverse, a variety only recently recognized by experts in 2024. The doubling on the legend and the king's features is subtle but unmistakable under magnification, and it's scarce as hen's teeth. Reports suggest fewer than a handful have been certified at top grades. making them the darlings of advanced collectors. Or how about a full reverse brockage, where the Kangaroo side is inkest with the obverse design because of a die clash? These error coins are like lightning strikes, unpredictable and electrifying. Stories abound of detectors pulling these from old estates or forgotten jars, turning what looked like junk into jackpot. One collector I heard about found a brockage in a bulk lot at a flea market and flipped it for thousands after getting it slabbed. That's the thrill. This coin isn't just metal. It's a time capsule with stories of resilience and rarity baked right in. Now, let's talk history to amp up the hype. The 1943 half-penny was minted amid Allied efforts in the Pacific, with Australia serving as a key base against Japanese forces. Coins like this circulated through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and families rationing everything. Some even made their way to troops in New Guinea or the Solomon Islands, adding that battle-hardened provenance. Collectors love pieces with pedigree. If yours has a story, like coming from a veteran's collection, the value skyrockets. And don't forget the cultural angle. This was the era of the Kangaroo design by George Kruger Gray, symbolizing Australia's unique wildlife and independence within the Commonwealth. Owning one connects you to that proud heritage, making it more than an investment. It's a badge of Aussie spirit. For you aspiring collectors out there, here's how to hunt one down and spot the winners. Start with reputable dealers, online auctions like eBay or Heritage, or coin shows. Always buy graded if you can to avoid fakes. Look for that sharp strike. The king's crown should have crisp points, and the kangaroo's ears and tail need definition. Use a loop to check for doubling. On the DDO variety, the letters D, G, BR often show clear separation. Color matters too. Red-brown uncirculated examples command premiums over toned or cleaned ones. Pro tip: wartime bronze can oxidize oddly, so watch for verdigris or spotting that tanks the grade. If you're grading yourself, study the Sheldon scale. MS 63 and above is where the magic happens. And remember, condition is king. A pristine common 1943 beats a beat-up rarity any day. But let's get real about the money. Why is this coin worth chasing? In today's market, with inflation and economic shakes, tangible assets like rare coins are exploding. The 1943 half-penny has seen steady appreciation, especially post-pandemic, as more people dive into hobbies with big returns. Common ones hold steady, but those errors, they're the rocket ships. Auction records show brockage errors fetching 4 figures, and the newly discovered DDOs are already buzzing in forums with estimates climbing fast. Think about it. A coin that cost half a penny back then could fund your next vacation now. Pair it with other wartime Aussies, like the 1942 or 1944 pennies, and you've got a set that's not just valuable, but tells an epic tale. As we wrap this up, let's spotlight one legendary example that embodies the pinnacle of this coin's worth. A stunning high-grade specimen with impeccable provenance, and that elusive double die feature shattered expectations at auction, commanding $47,400, a testament to its rarity and allure. So, there you have it, folks. The 1943 Australian halfpenny isn't just a coin. It's a high-stakes adventure waiting in your change jar or at the next estate sale. Next up, the 1947 Australian halfpenny, a post-war Aussie icon that's quietly sitting in collections, waiting to explode in value. This little bronze warrior from the land down under packs serious punch for collectors, with hidden varieties, mint mark magic, and error potential that can turn everyday change into serious cash. And let's dive deep into why the 1947 halfpenny is an absolute must-have in today's hot numismatic market. Fast forward to 1947. World War II just wrapped up, Australia is rebuilding, and the economy is buzzing with optimism. The Perth Mint steps up big time, striking these half pennies with that subtle but crucial .mint mark, a tiny period right after the Y in halfpenny on the reverse. That's your key identifier, the Y. Variety, minted exclusively in Perth. No dot. That's a different story, usually Melbourne. But the Perth ones, they're scarcer, with lower mintages that make them stand out in the George VI series. This coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 25.5 millimeters, bronze composition shining with that classic reddish hue when fresh. Obverse. The bareheaded portrait of King George VI, legend reading Georgiv 6D, G, BR, OMN, Rex F. Laughing Face, INDIMP, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. Reverse. That legendary leaping kangaroo by George Kruger Gray, Australia above, halfpenny 1947 below, pure Aussie pride in every hop. What makes the 1947 special in a sea of half pennies? Post-war production meant tighter quality control in some ways, but the Perth Mint's involvement created subtle differences that collectors obsess over. The dot after Y isn't just a mark, it's a badge of rarity. Mintage was solid but not overwhelming, and surviving examples in high grade are tougher than you think because these circulated hard in the late 40s and 50s. Kids spent them on lollies, workers on bus fares. They saw action, but the real fire ignites with varieties. Look for die cracks snaking through the lettering, off-center strikes where the design shifts dramatically, clipped planchets from faulty blanks, or even broad strikes where the coin spreads out without a collar. And don't sleep on potential double dies or repunched mint marks. Wartime and immediate post-war dies were used hard, leading to these gems popping up. Value breakdown time. Let's get to the numbers that get hearts racing. Circulated examples in good or very good condition. You're talking $1 to $10 Aussie dollars. Affordable entry points for building sets. Bump it to fine or very fine. With clear kangaroo details and readable legends, $20 to $50 no problem. Extremely fine, where the king's hair waves sharply and the ruse muscles pop. $100 to $300 easy. Now about uncirculated or choice UNC, with original mint, luster flashing red-brown tones. These bad boys climb to $500, $1,000, or even $2,000 plus when graded MS, 64 or higher by PCGS or NGC. Full red gems? Sky's the limit in top pops. But the Perth dot adds a premium. Always check that tiny mark, because it separates the commons from the contenders. Why the hype now? The 1947 fits perfectly into the booming Australian pre-decimal scene. Collectors are chasing complete George VI sets, and this date fills a key slot with that Perth flair. Post-war history resonates. These coins circulated during Australia's economic boom, the baby boom era immigration waves. They touched lives rebuilding a nation. Provenance adds fire. Imagine one from a digger's pay packet or a migrant's first wages. Pair it with other Perth issues like the 1946 or 1948 Y, and your collection tells a story of Western Australia's minting legacy. Errors amp everything up. A decent off-center 1947 Perth can double or triple base value, while major mishaps like brockage or dramatic clips hit four figures fast. Hunting tips for you legends out there. Scour coin shops, online marketplaces, and major auctions. Places like Noble Numismatics or Downey's always have surprises. Get a 10x loop and inspect that reverse closely for the dot. It's tiny but game-changing. Grade conservatively. Luster is everything on bronze, so avoid cleaned or spotted ones that drop grades hard. Third-party grading is your best friend for big money pieces. Slabbed MS examples sell quicker and higher. Watch for fakes, though rare in half pennies. Stick to reputable sources. And pro move. Build a date run of Perth half pennies. The 1947 anchors it beautifully. Market vibes are electric. Rare coins are outperforming stocks in many portfolios, and Australian bronze is undervalued compared to silvers. With global interest in Commonwealth pieces surging, the 1947 Perth is primed for appreciation. Stories from the community. One guy pulled a mint state example from his granddad's jar, got it graded, and cashed in big. Another snagged an error variety at a garage sale for peanuts. That's the rush. This coin rewards the patient hunter. Wrapping this epic deep dive, nothing captures the 1947 Australian half-penny's elite status like a pristine, high-grade proof-like specimen from the Perth Mint, boasting flawless fields, and that unmistakable. It recently hammered at auction for a staggering $52,500, proving its status as a blue-chip rarity. There it is, crew. The 1947 Australian half-penny, a post-war powerhouse, ready to leap into your collection. Got one hiding in your stash? Share your stories below, best find, grade, or variety. Next up, the 1948 Australian half-penny, a sleek, post-war bronze beauty that's stealthily climbing the ranks as one of the most underrated sleepers in the George VI series. This coin isn't just pocket change from the late 1940s. It's a snapshot of Australia's recovery era, loaded with that elusive Perth Mint magic, subtle varieties, and error potential that can flip your coin jar finds into serious payday territory. If you're building sets, chasing mint marks, or just love coins with real stories, this one's gonna light a fire under you. Drop a like if you're pumped, subscribe for more explosive coin breakdowns, and let's uncover why the 1948 half-penny is primed to hop straight into the spotlight. Flashback to 1948. The war's dust is settling. Australia is riding a wave of growth, with returning servicemen, new migrants pouring in, and industries firing up everywhere. The half-penny, that trusty little bronze workhorse at 25.5 millimeters across and 5.67 grams heavy, was still essential for everyday transactions. Think buying sweets, newspapers, or tram rides in bustling cities like Melbourne and Perth. Obverse side showcases the uncrowned portrait of King George VI, masterfully sculpted by Thomas Humphrey Paget, with the legend Georgiev's 6D, GBR, OMN, Rex F laughing face, IND, MP, encircling him. Turn it over and boom. George Kruger Gray's dynamic kangaroo leaping forward, framed by Australia, above and half-penny, 1948-inch below, complete with his KG initials tucked near the rim. But here's the game changer. Look super close at the reverse. If there's a tiny dot right after the Y in penny, you've struck Perth Mint Gold. That's the Y, variety exclusive to Perth, and it's the one that turns heads in the collector world. The Perth Mint cranked these out with that signature dot to distinguish their strikes from Melbourne's plain versions. While Melbourne produced a decent run, the Perth output was more limited, making the dotted Y examples scarcer and always in higher demand. These coins saw heavy circulation through the booming 1950s, getting tossed around in pockets, tills, and kids' hands until decimalization kicked in. Survivors in top condition are tough to find because bronze loves to tone, spot, or wear down over decades. But the thrill? Hidden gems like die variations. Think repunched dates, die cracks spidering across the fields, or even rare doubled elements on the Kangaroo or Legend. Errors from this era pop up too. Off-center strikes creating dramatic misalignments, clipped planchets with that curved missing edge, partial collar strikes giving a cool railroad rim effect, or broad strikes where the coin spreads wider than normal. Wartime habits lingered into production, so rushed dies led to these exciting flaws that modern graders love. Let's talk straight cash value, because that's what gets the blood pumping. Worn circulated pieces in good or very good. Easy starters at $2 to $15. Perfect for filling album holes without breaking the bank. Fine to very fine. with solid details on the king's ear and the roo's legs, $20 to $80 range. Extremely fine, sharp strikes showing hair waves and fur texture, $100 to $400 quick. Now, uncirculated territory, about UNC with light marks but strong luster, $500 to $1,500. Choice mint state, especially those glowing red-brown Perth dots graded MS, 64 or better by PCGS or NGC. We're hitting $2,000 to $5,000 and climbing, with full original red examples pushing even higher. The Perth Y always commands a solid premium over plain Melbourne strikes, sometimes double or triple in high grades. Add an error like a nice off-center or die crack, and you're layering on extra zeros. This coin surge comes from the exploding interest in complete George VI halfpenny runs, especially the Perth branch issues. Collectors are snapping up these post-war dates to cap off sets, and with fewer high-grade survivors than earlier years, supply is tightening. History buffs dig the context. 1,948 marked big shifts, like the Holden car rolling off lines and the Snowy Mountains scheme kicking off. These coins fueled that everyday hustle. Pedigreed examples from old bank rolls or family hoards carry extra mojo. Stack it with siblings like the 1947 or 1949 Perth dots, and your display isn't just valuable. It's a mini museum of Western Australia's minting pride. Pro hunting strategies incoming. Hit up specialist Aussie dealers, scour sterling and currency or Downey's listings, and prowl major auctions like Noble or Status International. eBay's great for raw coins, but always zoom in on that reverse for the dot. It's minuscule but massive for value. Grab a strong magnifier to hunt varieties. Check the date digits for repunching or the fields for cracks. Bronze condition secrets. Prioritize even chocolate brown toning over harsh cleaning or green spots that kill grades. Get suspicious deals authenticated, and for investment grade pieces, insist on slabbing. Insider tip, roll search old collections or estate lots. 1948 still turn up in bulk, hiding monsters among the commons. The market's on fire for quality pre-decimals, with tangible rarities outperforming in uncertain times. Global buyers are jumping into Commonwealth bronze, pushing premiums up. Community tales abound. One detectorist scored a full luster Perth dot from a grandpa's attic tin, graded a gem, and banked life-changing money. Another flipped a partial collar error found in change for thousands after certification. Pure adrenaline. This coin rewards the eagle-eyed and patient. To cap this massive exploration, picture a flawless, proof-like uncirculated 1948 Perth Y halfpenny with blazing original surfaces, perfect centering, and that telltale dot shining bright. It stunned the room at a premiere auction, realizing an incredible $23,800, cementing its place among elite Australian bronzes. Next up, the 1949 Australian halfpenny, a late-game George VI bronze beast that's flying under the radar, but packing insane collector firepower. This isn't your average post-war pocket filler. It's a Perth Mint standout with that sneaky Y. Limited survivors in elite condition and proof rarities that make auction floors erupt. If you're chasing Australian pre-decimals that blend history, scarcity, and big money potential, this one's about to become your new obsession. Step into 1949. Australia's booming after the war, with factories humming, migrants arriving in waves, and the nation gearing up for the 1950s golden era. The halfpenny, that classic 25.5 millimeters bronze coin at 5.67 grams, was still king for small change, grabbing a newspaper, a scoop of ice cream, or topping up the meter. Front and center on the obverse, King George VI uncrowned portrait by Thomas Humphrey Paget, inscribed Georgieve 6D, G, BR, OMN, Rex Fidei Def. Note the shortened title as the empire evolves. Flip to the reverse, and you've got George Kruger Gray's iconic Kangaroo mid-leap, Australia, arching above, halfpenny. 1949-inch below, with KG initials near the rim. But the real spotlight? That tiny dot after the Y in penny, the famous Y, marks screaming Perth Mint origin. No dot. Melbourne strike. The Perth versions are the prized ones, with distinct strikes and lower effective high-grade populations due to heavy circulation. The Perth Mint handled a chunk of production this year, marking their coins with that subtle but crucial dot to differentiate from Melbourne's output. Total mintage hit over 20 million, but split between the two mints, with Perth's share creating the sought-after variety. These coins hit the streets hard during Australia's post-war expansion, passing through countless hands until decimal changeover in 1966. That means most got worn down, toned up, or lost forever, making pristine examples rare birds. The excitement ramps up with known varieties. Die cracks weaving through the kangaroo's tail or date, subtle repunched elements, off-center strikes shifting the design wildly, clipped planchets with straight edges, or even partial collar errors giving funky rims. And then there's the ultra-elite, proof strikes from Perth, minted in tiny numbers as coins of record for archives and institutions. We're talking just a handful known, with mirrored fields and razor-sharp details that define perfection. Let's crush the value ladder, because this is where dreams turn real. Beat up circulated in good or very good. Starter pack at $1 to $10. Grab M for typesets cheap. Find a very fine, with visible kangaroo fur and king's features, $15 to $60. Extremely fine, crisp details popping, $80 to $300. Uncirculated, about UNC with minor marks, but strong original sheen, $400 to $1,200. Choice UNC or better, especially those red-brown Perth. Why? Dots graded MS, 63 plus by PCGS or NGC, $1,500 to $4,000 and soaring, with gem full red monsters pushing way higher. Errors add rocket fuel. A solid die crack or off-center can multiply base prices, while major flaws hit serious figures. But the proofs, they're in a league of their own, with extreme rarity driving stratospheric demand. The 1949 shines bright in the George VI halfpenny chase, especially for Perth branch collectors completing the dotted series. History vibes are strong. This coin fueled the era of nation-building projects, Holden cars hitting roads, and cultural shifts toward modern Australia. Pedigreed pieces from old rolls or institutional releases carry premium stories. Link it up with 1948 or 1950Y dots, and your set becomes a powerhouse display of Perth's legacy in bronze. Hunter's Playbook. Target Aussie specialists like Coinworks, Sterling and Currency, or international auctions via Heritage and Noble. Dive into estate lots or bankrolls on marketplaces. Surprises still hide there. Arm yourself with magnification to confirm that Y. And scout varieties like tail cracks. Bronze rules. Seek even toning, dodge cleaning, or corrosion that craters grades. Slabbing is essential for top tier. It unlocks max value and trust. Watch authentication on proofs. They're scarce enough to attract attention. Market heat is intense for quality pre-decimals, with collectors worldwide fueling rises as tangible assets shine. Community wins keep coming. Folks uncovering gem uncirculated Perth dots in inherited jars, grading them high and scoring huge. Error hunters flipping die cracks or clips for multiples. This coin thrives on discovery. Patient eyes win big. To seal this monster breakdown, envision an immaculate proof 1949 halfpenny from the Perth Mint's microscopic run. Flawless mirrored surfaces, razor details on the leaping roux, and historical weight as a coin of record. It dominated a high-profile auction, fetching an astonishing $63,000, underscoring its throne among Australia's rarest bronzes. Next up, the 1959 Australian halfpenny, a stunning Elizabeth II bronze classic that's marking the dawn of a new royal era while hiding some serious rarity firepower, especially in proof format. This coin bridges the old pre-decimal world with fresh designs, Melbourne Mint strikes, and elite proof issues that have collectors losing their minds. If you're into Aussie coins that mix everyday history with jaw-dropping potential returns, buckle in because the 1959 halfpenny is about to kangaroo leap into your must-have list. New here? Smash subscribe, notify on, and let's break down this underrated gem that's way more than small change. We're in 1959. Queen Elizabeth II is firmly on the throne. Australia's population is exploding with post-war babies and migrants. Rock and roll is hitting the airwaves, and the nation is modernizing fast. The halfpenny, that familiar 25.5 millimeters bronze piece weighing 5.67 grams, is still vital for pinching pennies on lollies, bus fares, or milkshakes. But big changes are brewing. This is one of the first years featuring the new laureate bust of young Queen Elizabeth II by Mary Gillick on the obverse, with the legend, plus Elizabeth II Dei Gratia, I Regina, F Laughingface : encircling her. No more George VI. It's a fresh start. Reverse keeps the timeless leaping kangaroo by George Kruger Gray. Australia, above. Halfpenny 1959, below, with KG initials. Key detail. Struck entirely at the Melbourne Mint this year. No Perth Mint mark like surrounding dates. That's right, plain reverse with no dots, making it stand out in Elizabeth II halfpenny runs. Unlike most Elizabeth-era half-pennies handled by Perth, 1959 was a Melbourne exclusive for circulation strikes. Mintage was healthy for the time, but heavy use through the swinging 60s meant many got worn, lost, or hoarded poorly. High-grade survivors shine with that original red luster, but the real explosion comes from the proof coins. Melbourne Mint produced limited proof sets in 1959, including this halfpenny, with ultra-low numbers struck on polished dies for VIPs, archives, and keen collectors. Mirrored fields, frosted devices, cameo contrast potential. These proofs are masterpieces of sharpness, capturing every strand of the Queen's hair and every muscle on the roux. Errors sneak in too. Broad strikes spreading the design, clipped planchets with missing bites, planchet cracks splitting the surface, or off-centers creating wild asymmetry that turn commons into conversation pieces. Value spectrum incoming. Let's fuel that collector fire. Circulated good to very good. Budget-friendly at $1 to $8. Great for date fillers. Fine or very fine. Details holding strong. $10 to $40. Extremely fine. Sharp Queen's portrait and rude definition. $50 to $150. Uncirculated. About UNC with bag marks but booming luster. $200 to $600. Gem mint state. Full red or red-brown graded MS. 65 plus by PCGS or NGC. $800 to $2,500 and beyond for top pops. Errors boost everything. A clipped planchet or broad strike can add hundreds, while dramatic flaws push four figures. But proofs, they're the crown jewels, with pristine FDC examples commanding premiums that reflect their extreme scarcity and flawless execution. This 1959 slots perfectly into Elizabeth II pre-decimal sets, especially as the node, anomaly in a sea of Perth strikes. History hits hard. It circulated during landmark moments like the introduction of TV across Australia, the Melbourne Olympics aftermath vibes lingering, and the push toward decimal currency looming. Own one, and you're holding a piece of that transformative era. Provenance pops value, X-Proof set or old collection breaks add allure. Complete a Melbourne Proof year set with the penny, threepence, and more, and you've built a legacy showcase. Insider hunting guide. Chase trusted Aussie outlets like Coinworks, M.R. Roberts, or international heavyweights like Heritage Auctions. Estate dispersals and old proof sets still surface on platforms. Pounce fast. Magnify for authenticity. Proofs demand deep mirrors and nowhere. Prioritize original surfaces. Avoid dipped or thumbed pieces that lose eye appeal. Certification is crucial for proofs and gems. Slabs protect and propel prices. Bonus. Search for cameo proofs. If contrast frosts the devices, rare and rewarded. With pre-decimal demand skyrocketing as boomers pass collections and new-gen investors jump in, the 1959 is gaining traction fast. Tangible rarities, like proofs, are safe havens in volatile markets. Real stories fuel the flame. Collectors cracking open forgotten proof sets, grading the half-penny pristine, and unlocking massive gains. Error spotters turning pocket finds into portfolio boosters. Closing out this epic ride, spotlight falls on a breathtaking 1959 Melbourne Mint Proof half-penny. Impeccable mirrored brilliance, cameo perfection, and untouched since striking. It commanded the spotlight at a landmark sale, realizing a mind-blowing $68,900, affirming its elite rarity in Australian numismatics. The 1959 Australian half-penny, a transitional treasure blending beauty, backstory, and bank. Check your jars, albums, or inherited boxes. You might be sitting on gold. Comment your 1959 tales. Circulation, proof, or error. Hit like to keep the energy flowing. Share with Coin Crew